What was the writing process like for DARUMA?
Lonely. It was really lonely. I kept this story in a drawer for years. Again, it was a way for me to process something that had happened that was, very, very personal, and affected me greatly. But, I can't necessarily say, and this may be awful, but like had I never personally experienced what a disability or an injury, was like with a family member, this might not have been a story that I'd ever, told. Again, I'm not disabled myself, but I am the person to tell this story. Because I want to tell it, and I want to tell it authentically. But the process for writing this was very lonely because I didn't have anyone to share it with. And it sat in a drawer for about, 10 years, and it was awful. It was awful. But
that long? Wow.
Well, I'd started writing it as a short first. And then again, as I'm developing my craft and honing my process, and I took it, I took an outline to my class with Justin Trevor Winters, and he looked at that one, and he looked at the Baltimore School of Charm, and he was like, you need to write the Baltimore School of Charm. So I did that, and then as I started to develop that, I wanted to branch out and work on other projects. So I started to work on revisions of DARUMA that were all equally terrible, but I started to enter the script into different screenwriting competitions. And I got feedback and I got notes. And over the course of about 2.5 years, it became its current iteration. And then it found its director, Alex Yellen. I gave it to him to read. And by page 3, he's laughing. And I'm like, what is so funny? Why are you laughing? He's like, this is hilarious. And I'm like, it's not supposed to be a comedy. And he's like, but what you've written is really funny. So he read it and he could see what I saw. And he was like, I would really like to direct this. And I was like, okay. So we now have Alex attached to it as a director. And then we cast John and Toby to shoot our proof of concept last fall, just so we could, it's so much easier to visually tell your story. So I encourage you, if you can shoot a proof of concept, to do that, especially if you're trying to produce your own feature. But from there, I had my actors read the script, and I talked about, doing sensitivity reads. And John Lawson, the guy that plays Robert, like I said, I had initially written the character that was very limited, and John can do so much. I mean, you would assume that somebody with, no arms would, not be able to do the things John does, but that was my own naivete. So